All right, how's everybody doing? Welcome back to whatever the hell I'm calling this. It was originally News with Booze, then I was going to go with Layback News, but then that's actually the channel. Then I was like Weekish Update, and everybody pretty much hates that. So at the moment, I'm like, it's some news show. I have no idea. It's all up in the air what to call it. I might just go back to News with Booze. I'm not sure what to do. Anybody who's on locals or wants to comment below, let me know what you'd like to call it. I'm kind of trying to find my sea legs here, and I like that name. No War with Russia. That would be a really, really nice name for the show, and actually have a good degree of importance, come to think of it. So thank you, Nick Sweeney. Totally agree. And obviously that is the overarching topic of the moment, right? I mean, Hunley's hot takes. Yeah, that would probably be my clips channel, right? And yeah, I like Laidback News too, but Laidback News is actually the channel too. So I guess I don't know. That's why I was like, well, is this an update? What do we call it? So I don't know. And I even hate to say weekly because I've been inconsistent lately, just trying to keep track of everything that's going on, as well as the day job and things like that. But I will, try to do better. I'm trying to get the formula of this to feel right too. I feel like some of the shows I do are super comfortable and they feel right. Everything's clicking and it's fine. And then other ones, the better some do, the more you feel like, okay, that's not quite as nice as I'd like. Like I do a show with Nate, and okay, well, Ken, we'll put it into them. Bye. Is this the shows, I hope? Anyway, the more I see a comparison, it's kind of like, things aren't quite right. Now I have a show with Nate on most Sundays, no holds barred, and that's got a really good flow, good feel, things like that. I kind of want to have a little bit more of that feel there to where I can have a bit of a voice, but I also want to interact with you guys more. And I feel like that's something I haven't been doing for. And there we go. That damn news show. There are times on a Wednesday evening I kind of feel that way. Okay, some news show has a classic comedy feel. Maybe we'll go with it. I don't know. Everybody, let's get back with me in the comments. Tell me what you think. I don't know. Every time I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. Hunley's hacks. Yeah, or Hunley the hack. You see, everybody can get confused. Is it my hacks or am I the hack? I'd say it's probably the latter. I'm the hack. But, whatever it is. But let's see. What do we have? Yeah, KM. No. I meant the feel of no holds bar, but I want to interact with you guys more. That's what I mean. Obviously, no way in hell I'm going to try that on YouTube. That's the whole point of the show, and doing it exclusively on locals. And yes, John Nickel, I'm very familiar with YouTube nuking the channel. I don't know if you've been around long enough to know, but out of all of the group of us, Allison, all the lawyers, everybody else, I'm the guy who managed to get my channel completely vaporized, as in gone, nuked, pulled from backup because it no longer existed. I was removed so hard from YouTube that I've been a YouTube premium user since 2008 when they gave that option. And my premium account to even watch videos was gone. I was completely erased, like in the perfect 1984 memory hold. So totally know how that can go. 1010, thank you so much. I do deeply appreciate that. And well, no holds bar. I'm not necessarily a bar fan either, but yeah, nice play. And let me see. This show's in beta testing. You have to get back to me on that one. I'm not sure. John Nichols, aware of my past transgressions. Yes. Yes, I had to speak of, I spoke of the C word, only it has 5 letters, and it rhymes with Sipto. Just crazy. And yeah, I'm continually covered in yellow streams. Yeah, there you go. I just call all my live streams the yellow stream. Definitely a double entendre. On that note, thanks for reminding me. Maybe I should check. Have they already gone yellow? I haven't said anything. Not yet. Not yet. I'm sure it'll happen. Oh, thanks, guys. You know, it's always fun. I actually had a dislike before I started the show. So that way I officially know that I'm a real show now, right? Because I hadn't said a word. I hadn't put anything out. I had an immediate dislike. So always fun to be greeted with that. Oh, Heinz, he loves the shows where they talk about the UN. Those are eye openers. Yeah, except they're depressing. John Nickel, when the stream turns yellow, that means that my monetization is essentially limited, as they call it. And I am not able to get any ad dollars, things like that. I can get a little bit of people who pay for YouTube Premium. I'll still get a little piece of that, but it's really, really minor numbers. So that's why I'm so dependent on super chats and things of that sort, because really when my streams turn yellow, what happens is I will put in, ask for a review, and then usually it used to be within 12 hours or so, it would get approved. Now it could take up to 3-4 days to get approved. And what happens is that these shows, the vast majority of my viewership is like within the first 24 hours. I mean, like 95%. So like, let's say I have a show that gets 5,000 viewers. I'll see 4,800 of them go by, and then I'll get an email from YouTube saying, good news. We found that your show is qualified for monetization. So I get monetization on the 200 left on the run of that particular show. So it's a real treat. The unholy truth talker. Yeah, that'll help a lot. Oh, wait, what is this, Nick? You drop an unthumb first? Is that because I don't have Barnes here? Is that it? Am I being punished due to the lack of Barnes? Come on now. That's not fair. Red Ford wants Viking news. Nope, that's America's Untold at the moment. And then YouTube, they may be collecting my ad revenue. I haven't really caught the proof of them doing that, but they have in their terms of service put out that yes, we can charge you, period, no matter what. And I see Allison is in the house, but I don't see her camera on. So I'm going to show her on the stream, but we may be looking at a black window.
So you're using a new program, and I don't know why my camera's not showing up, because my camera's working in OBS, and I just used it on StreamYard.
Lovely. This is called Modern Technology 101.
Wait a second. Hang on.
Is it here?
Woo! Oh! I figured it out.
Look at that.
So good.
Well, look at this, Allison. Come on. This is a new toy. This is in the beta, wave.video. And look, I can do this.
Oh, that's cool. How did you
get
into this program? That's neat. I like this. Very Brady Bunch.
Yeah, there you go. It's fancy. I also like that you can, instead of your name like that, I have two. You can do 2 levels.
Right.
Think of your name and that. The bit there. A friend of mine.
StreamYard?
I haven't quit StreamYard yet because this is still in the beta. And a confession, everybody, I don't have enough people on the show to really drive the numbers enough to where I'm worried about it straining it. There's no way I'm going to do it with America's Untold Stories yet. So I'm beta testing on a show that it'll do good and give some good people, but it doesn't have the numbers yet. I'm not quite completely comfortable, but I like a lot of what they're doing. I mean, the tool when it's ready, I think is amazing. There's so much flexibility, options that you can do, moving things around. It's more complex than I am. It's like if they took OBS and the functionality of it and put it in StreamYard. So it has a lot more options.
Is this what you use when you do your locals?
No.
Stream?
No. That I use actually Ecamm and Loopback.
Okay.
Which, you know, they work great, but the same thing you can do with OBS. You've just got a sound issue.
Yeah. Well, I actually locals when I'm on my desktop, it's like it requires the
That's weird,
OBS
John,
camera.
Yeah, well, the OBS camera, yes, because you have 2 people, so you've got to get everybody into it.
For just me on my desktop, I have to use it. I have to use like a virtual. It always asks like for the virtual camera. I can't just on my desktop go, you know, click that. Maybe if I was on my laptop.
You should be able to change it, but it doesn't matter because your virtual camera allows you to share your desktop, which you would not be able to do if you just hooked up straight anyway. Yeah, and you can't bring in a guest anyway. So, I mean, you might as well just keep it with that. Anyway, I can work with you on it. The biggest problem you're having that I saw was the sound, and that's a loopback thing. I got special software to do that, but I think OBS can do it as well. It's a virtual cable, and you have to kind of tell the program to output as the input to local, so you can still hear who you're talking to, but then just spit one monitor. It's you're actually monitoring the session you're having in OBS. Okay. So I hope everybody watching enjoys our little behind the scenes YouTube nerdery. But
it's above me too. Somebody says it's above my head. It's above me too.
Hey, I understand that.
Don't feel bad.
Let me see. I want to start off. I like to start something fun. So, did you see this? Now, okay, I confess, I did not watch the State of the Union address.
I didn't either.
But I have the excuse I am not a journalist. I'm not trained as such, but I could not bring myself to that. So what I did is my wife and I, we watch like 1 hour of television a day, and we've been binging on Designated Survivor, which ironically, the plot line of the show is Kiefer Sutherland is the lowest House member, some BS department like House, Human Services, whatever, some bullshit department. We have many. And he was the designated survivor. So while all the people who mattered were at the State of the Union address, he was off site and somebody bombed and destroyed the whole government. President, vice president, all of Congress, all the Supreme Court, all at one shot. And suddenly he became president of the United States as this lowly cabinet member. So anyway, he's a much more entertaining president than who we have now because he's fictional. And my wife, of course, is like, so I wonder who's the designated survivor.
It's me. I'm the designated survivor.
You're pretty sneaky that way. All right. So, but I did get to see.
I really just wanted to watch it to see who was going to wear their masks since they lifted the mask ban. But I could not get my daughter to, she doesn't want, I'm solo parenting right now, which Eric, we should probably give the audience a heads up.
You'll be darting off screen.
Yeah. Just so that you all know, if I like disappear for a second, it's just checking on, breathing and all the important things, but I just could not get her interested in it. So, she's the producer. She decides, and she was not interested in the State of the Union. What are you going to do?
Well, okay. On that note, Allison, we found something out. Do you know how you spell science?
I think.
Yeah. Polling.
Say it again.
Polling. That spells science.
I don't get it.
Polling. Spell science.
Oh, polling. Okay, sorry. I was pronouncing it in my head, polling, and I was thinking, who is that? Like polling, you know. I'm just like, what?
There you go. Yeah. Deborah couldn't bring herself to watch it. James Esparza watched people watching it. That would be more entertaining. That's like, do you remember the memes of Game of Thrones, the Red Wedding?
I never watched Game of Thrones.
Okay, well, there was a episode in Game of Thrones, and I'm not going to spoil it. I'm just going to say that there was an episode in Game of Thrones, and people who read the book knew what was going to happen in that episode. And so they all lined up wondering, how's it going to be? And they would be with their loved ones watching the show who didn't read the books, didn't know anything about it. And they were videoing them going, freaking out. And it became like a giant meme, like minutes of just people going, oh my God, because it was really, really, really gruesome.
I remember
scary.
when that happened. I remember when that happened. Yeah.
And you know what? I think that might actually be appropriate to what we see going on with our current leadership. I'd say it's slightly more scary than the Red Wedding of Game of Thrones. And everybody in the chat, let me know if you agree, but they definitely. And actually, on that note, Carrie said they need to outlaw applause at the State of the Union. Yes, not only do they need to outlaw applause, I'd like to get a little piece of the Commonwealth countries. You know, have you ever watched the Brits and Canadians and Australians? They're like, oh, and they yell at each other and everything. You know, let's do that. Okay, let's stop this BS of this gentility, or even more appropriately,
like bring back the tomatoes.
Yes, or better still, let's get rid of. Hold on, I gotta find my play button. Let's watch our Speaker of the House here. Just watch her and see what you think and how you interpret this.
That's what my daughter says when she wants like more of something.
That's what I.
Waste of war. Burn pits.
Now listen to his words.
Many of you have been there. I've been in and out of Iraq and Afghanistan over 10 times. These burn pits that incinerate waste. The waste of war.
Burn pits. Okay, so not only is her actions creepy AF, it's not even. It's just, and it's not jazz hands. It's this weird. And yes, I was talking to my friend Mark, who does America's Untold Stories, about that earlier. I was like, she's acting like a little girl.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like she's super cute. Oh my God, it was so freakish.
Well, and you know, Botox is a neurotoxin. There's no telling when it's going to finally get to Pelosi's head, because she's had plenty of it.
Well, yeah, I'd say it has entered the cells. You know, maybe that, or her opening salons for whenever she feels like going in time. Not sure, but holy cow, that was some weird stuff. I don't know, but I find it just completely remarkable. I hadn't
seen that video. That's pretty funny.
Oh, it's just disturbing.
Eric,
great. Yes,
for my tittle tattle weekly show that I do for supporters with another ex-TV news guy, Bill Doris, who's been on with us before.
Yeah, I know Bill.
Today we were reviewing some videos that were not supposed to air, or were supposed to air, but they were just train wreck. You know, like the chicken fried Applebee's commercial that played during the Ukraine coverage for CNN. Did you see that one? They're like showing air sirens in Ukraine, and then it's like da chicken fried on a Friday night, like some guy, you know, dancing behind, like, you know, with his like tight jeans and stuff. It's pretty bad. But the video I was going to tell you about is some local news station was talking about a molestation case of like this 71-year-old was convicted of molesting all these kids, and they put Joe Biden's picture up next to her with State of the Union under it. And then they went to the other anchor, and he's like, and then they went back to her and it was down, and she just like kept going, but it was so perfect. She's like, a 71-year-old man has been convicted of molesting kids, like State of the Union with Biden, like right there. Man, it is classic. And yeah, of course, like that flash of the other anchor, like, it was great.
Well, I mean, it sounds like, anyway, well, at least they didn't say hair sniffing. So, okay, right. I guess we got to get into the main headline, which is very, very, very frustrating. And I agree with James Esparza. These people, well, where'd it go? There we go. These people need nursing homes. Yeah, possibly. And hey, thank you, Talux. Yes, it takes a lot of power to keep those teeth in.
But that's what the Botox is for, because it just, it constricts the mouth area.
That's true. It's all just what each side wants us to see. Well, okay, yes, Hontus. However, a hint to both sides. Your actions are going to be under the microscope, because they also memed out Amy Comey Barrett. When he mentioned Roe versus Wade, they took a shot of her and flashed to her looking like a sour face. So pretend everybody in all these circumstances, whatever side you're on, I'll be fair, pretend you're in court. Pretend you're the defendant, because you know damn well that everybody is going to be focusing on every movement, and they're going to be trying to jump cut and quick cut your reaction to everything. Don't stand up like a lunatic and go, that probably won't work for you. So I don't know. Speaking of virtue signaling, which is, all the rage now, I had to get this authorized, but this is Sergei Lavrov, and he's speaking at the Union.
Sergei Lavrov,
UN,
ministro de Asuntos Extranjeros de la Federación Rusa. Tiene la palabra su excelencia.
So,
Уважаемые дамы и господа,
these are the diplomats for all the different countries. When Russia is speaking. And it's, I think I said over 100. Now, a huge believer in freedom of speech. You know that. I'm also a believer in productivity. Now, I'm not going to endorse or go against, but I'm going to say, if you don't sit there and listen to what the person says, and your job, your role is as an ambassador or a representative or diplomat or whoever it is, are you legitimately there doing your job? If you just walk out, if you do not acknowledge, address, or anything what is being said, is it possible to move forward if they're speaking to deaf ears? Let me put it another way. If he's speaking to people who just walk out and don't listen any damn way, then does that mean he has to speak louder? And does that mean that Putin, who may be unbalanced, we don't know, will feel like that he might have to drop a couple more missiles to get people to actually pay attention to him? I don't know if that's helpful behavior. And I really wanted to talk and see what you thought of it.
I've never been a diplomat. I've never had the fate of a country in my hands, thank God. But generally speaking, I would say I don't understand. I don't understand why people walk away from hearing something that could be very important, albeit you may completely disagree with it. The person could be off their rocker. Even more reason to hear is the guy saying, hi, we're about to drop a nuclear bomb on New York City. And it's like, well, we didn't hear that because we left the room. I mean, I've never really quite understood that. Journalists do it all the time now. It's that same idea of sort of morality via dissociation. And so I agree with you. I think it gets really problematic when you're in positions where, like, you and me, who cares if we're just like, I don't want to listen,
sure,
or I don't want to pay attention. But when you need all the information to make an informed choice or to inform your citizenry about what's going on, or even to call bullshit on what the person's saying, you have to be there to hear it. I just have never quite understood that. And, same with the journalists who are like, I'm not going to hear that person. I'm not going to meet with that person. I'm not going to even listen to what they have to say, because that would be like, I agree. I'm like endorsing them. It's like, no, it's not. It's just making sure that you're well informed and educated about, even if you do decide the person's crazy, and they're not making any sense. The only way you actually know that is to talk to them yourself and hear them out. So yeah, I've always found that to be quite odd.
And I'm going to lay out charges again. People really annoying, but it feels very snowflakey, safe spacey, trigger warning-ish, and bullshit. And my thing is that, okay, if you want to walk out, fine. How about this? How about we just change it a little? How about you listen to what the hell he says and then you turn your back on him and walk out? But at least
exactly.
get the message, because then you're answering.
What if he said in that speech, like, we're willing to compromise. We'll stop the war right now. I just want a cheeseburger. And that's all they needed to do was get him a cheeseburger. And like, he's like waiting and he gets no cheeseburger. And he's like, okay, well, I guess we're just going to have to keep going with this war. I mean, it's just, I know that's a stupid example, but come on. I agree with you. And, you know, I know that like when Trump was president, he was meeting with like Little Rocket Man and whatnot. Everyone was like, oh, how could you meet with the leader of North Korea? And so there's all this debate about what leaders should do. Should they meet? Shouldn't they meet? Tulsi Gabbard meeting with, what's his face? I can't remember his name right off the top of my head. I can see it both ways. And in this particular case, I think it's nuts that they all walked out, and probably more reflective that there's a lot of groupthink and high school mentality. Like, well, if I don't walk, like, you know how when you're watching a play or something and you don't really think it deserved a standing ovation, but then like slowly people start standing up around you. And
I hate that. And then you're like,
finally you're like,
I don't want to stand up. It's like, oh, and you kind of want to just be a dick, but you know that you're going to be the only person sitting there going,
right. I feel like there's probably a little of that going on too.
Well, and in your case, and no offense, it's got to be even worse because you're like, oh shit, they'll think I'm a Karen.
Assad and Tulsi, thank you. KM says yes. Assad, thank you.
Oh, okay.
So sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I that was pretty. Thank you for sharing that. That was wow. And, what do you think they all did while they were out there?
I don't know, but I'm just sitting there looking. I'm like, you guys are such shit representatives. You really are. It's you have a job. It is such a high honor, I would think, or there's some degree of prestige saying you are representing this country, right, all these people, and you're supposed to be dignified enough, but you're too immature to sit in a room. And not only that, by the way, the dude's on video, so he can't even see your ass. Probably he's probably just speaking straight to a camera, getting cued by somebody on the side and saying blah 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 blah, reading from his teleprompter. And so your little effect is nothing more than bullshit virtue signaling for everybody else to say, look, I walked out. Oh, right. Not helpful at all. And by the way, this is not supporting Russia or not against Russia. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of having to qualify and say I do not support Putin invading anybody. I don't support any kind of war. I'm very much against it. I'm very concerned about it. And I always want to put it out there because, of course, when I point out problems, it's going to be, oh, so you really are in favor of this. And no, I'm not. But I am in favor of the truth. Wherever that is, if it can ever be found. It's very, very frustrating.
And you're in favor of people doing their jobs, which should be tough jobs. And, they shouldn't be easy jobs necessarily, right? I mean, they should be jobs where you have to work through complex stuff. So, this is why you're there. Like, this is the whole reason you're there. You're not there for all the other BS, like, global COVID mandates. I mean, I guess maybe they think that's why they're there, but like, this is when we really need you guys to start coming together to the table and talk. So when everybody walks out, when we actually need you to communicate with each other, is really disappointing.
I agree. And you have other people who are dependent on it. And by the way, your country may not be involved with it directly, but maybe you just have that one little say or something you could do to help alleviate the situation.
Right.
Anyway, it is completely mad. And they've already been doing that right wingers are pro Russia, blah 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 blah. And it's like, haven't you learned? Okay, you already said that Trump is Russia, right? He's a Russian puppet. That's all right back up again. Russia got disproven 1,000 ways. You have people declared pleading guilty or whatever, FBI and everything else. It's all live. It doesn't matter. We're just going to keep saying it, keep saying it, keep saying it, wish it into truth. But it's so freaking frustrating. So let's start looking at some of the messaging that's going out, because I'm with a professional news person here, and I've got to stick with the news for a minute. So here's one of the stories that came out over the weekend. I don't know if you saw this, but I don't know if you saw over the weekend. It was like, there's a special forces team, and they're out to assassinate Zelensky. And now the news has come out. Good news, folks. Apparently, the plot to assassinate Volodymyr, I guess it's Volodymyr Zelensky, has been foiled by Russian spies who were secretly working against Putin. So that was my favorite part of the headline. He was tipped off by the FSB, the successor to the KGB, by the way. And what was Putin's job back in the Soviet Union? Oh, wait, he was KGB. So he came out of this organization. So allegedly, they got tipped off from the FSB. So the internal Russian spy organization at this point said, we love you, man. We think you're great. And something bad is going to happen to you. So we're going to tip you off this mysterious plot. Okay. That's good. I'm you know what? I'm glad he's safe. I don't want anybody hurt, by the way. I'm really happy he's safe. But I find it an interesting situation that you have this plot that is really difficult to prove. And then you say, oh, but good news, it was foiled. And I'm wondering about you as you're seeing a lot of different stories going around. I mean, I guess the theme of where I'm going on this is, have you seen any footage?
Have I seen any footage?
Yeah.
Well, I've seen some people, walking amid rubble, like the guy I had on who's in the Ukraine, who was popular with some of my viewers and extremely unpopular with others.
Less.
So yeah, I've seen something like, you mean, is there even a war going on? Like, do we even know what's really happening over there?
You see, and I hate to go that far, because it's like, obviously something is going on, but I'm okay. For a point of comparison, we have 20 years ago in Afghanistan, right? And technology wasn't as much. Like, you have people, the person you interviewed that people didn't love, where was he when you interviewed him?
In the capital.
Which capital?
Of Ukraine. Can you tell me?
How did that happen? Internet's still working.
How do we say that now? Why did everybody switch from Kiev to Kyiv?
Oh God, dude, I've railed about that forever. It's like, remember it was Iran and now it's Iran. This is
like Iraq.
This is NPR.
Or like ISIL and then ISIS.
Yes, this is NPR language police bullshit. And they've been doing it forever. They constantly are going to change up, and it's like, it's not Tehran, it's Tehran. And they come up with the different terms, and remember,
so Gaddafi, that's why I say, I don't
Gaddafi,
know. He's at the capital of Ukraine. However the hell you say it, he's there.
Right. But my point is this. And you were able to have an uninterrupted live stream with this gentleman on internet that has not been shut down. You know, the normal course of war, you're married to a soldier, and he will tell you, I'm sure quite often, you shut down the power, you shut down the communications, you shut down the grid. You know, you're not trying to hurt people necessarily, but there's a lot of ability to get out. Now, with this communication here, which is 2022, not 2002, how is it nobody can stick a webcam out the damn window and say, look, folks, look at that going on. Look at this over here. We keep hearing the stories, but I'm just not seeing them. Whereas 2002, I was bombarded with images left and right, all kinds of video, more than I knew what to do with. It was a little nauseating.
Yeah. I think it's a fair point. Like, I was at my neighbor's the other day, and she had Fox News Channel on, and they were talking about the convoy of like Russian tanks heading towards Kiev. How I say tomato, you say tomato.
It's Kiev. Okay. Let's piss everybody off.
Call it Kiev.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they're headed towards Kiev, and they kept going back to this guy doing live shots there, wearing a flak jacket and everything. And all they had was this like one shot of this long line of vehicles. That was all they played.
Oh, here we go. Somebody said this is okay. It's a difference between the two.
I had a feeling it had a political bent to it because
always does.
The same thing happened with like ISIS and ISIL. There was some political reason why we
ISIL was Libya and ISIS was Syria, I thought.
I don't know. I just
Islamic State in Syria, Islamic State in Libya.
I know there was some undertone to it, but I can't remember what it was. Anyway, so what was I saying? Oh yeah. So yeah, I just thought that was weird because I've worked in national news before, and if you're booking or producing a segment for somebody, the last thing they want is to just stare at the person and that's it the entire time. Even if they take like a 2-shot where it's like you on the side, they want something else playing next to it. And so you usually have 5 or 6 at least videos queued up. And so the fact that I was just staring at this guy the whole time, or I was just looking at this one shot of the convoy, I agree with you. I do think that it's odd. I'm not really quite sure what to make of it, but I don't know what to make of this whole thing. I mean, there's just been so much weird stuff that old photos, fake photos, very seemingly intentional messaging and propaganda around it. It's weird to see things like I saw that Seattle's wheel on the waterfront. They turned it Ukrainian colors. And I think people are right to say that a lot of the folks who were like very heavy on the COVID narrative are now switching to Ukraine. And I agree. I totally agree that that's like definitely something I'm picking up on too. But I don't like the dialectic either. It starts to concern me when I see two very clear positions in something, because it makes me really wonder about the truth in a third, and how like often there are these sort of safe areas that the two sides are allowed to argue in, and so that sort of is a controlled way to converse and debate about something. And so I'm not even really like just concerned about one side. I'm watching how these sort of like groups are forming, and how they're all starting to sound, like the people on either side are sending me the same things. They're all sending me the same things and the same talking points. And it's just, it's weird, dude. It's just a little bit off. And so I don't know what to make of that either.
No. And that's what I'm trying to qualify as much as I can, that there's something going on, and there are definitely people who are running out of town, and there are definitely people who are acting as refugees, or people in hiding. I believe all of that. I'm having trouble with the severity and with the lack of coverage and the specificity in stories that are coming through. And that's actually my next group. And by the way, KM brought up a good point. Even before 2002, we had Vietnam, tons of video footage.
Right.
And that was in the 60s and 70s. That was film cameras, and they managed to come up with it. But
I have a friend that's heading over there to cover it. And I mean, I wouldn't say I like trust that person with my life or anything, but I think I trust him more than anyone else that I've heard from.
Well, so we'll him.
I'll give you at least I know him, so I'll give you guys an update. However, I have to say I'm basically done with covering this issue. I've tried to show the different perspectives. It's a losing battle. Nobody wants to see the other perspective. No. I said in my last interview, I'd rather stick a fork in my working toaster while it's plugged into the wall and suffer minor electrocution than continue to cover this. Because you know what? A lot of people want you to argue and stuff too. And it's like, I can't, this is a topic that, first off, even if all the stuff that was coming out was not weird and it was like seemed legit, I would still not want to debate it, because this is something that, like, for me, I'm still learning a lot about. But it just seems like it's so hard to know anything. So it's like, it almost feels fruitless to even talk about it. It feels like fruitless to like seek out different sides, because everybody seems like a well-oiled machine right now, or just like very, very staunch on their narrative, and you're gonna piss off somebody no matter. It's just a topic that it's like it's starting to remind me of when I tried to cover the Cuba protests, or you try covering Israel Palestine. It's like, what, screw this. I'm done.
Next we'll cover abortion next week. See you then. No,
yeah.
But here I'll tell you what, though, Allison, get your bite block ready, because you're going to be shocked for the rest of the show probably. And we'll get through this in our own muddled confusion on what's going on. But here is more in what I'm talking about. These are the stories here. You have the ghost of Kiev. And do you know about this story?
Yes, I do. Yeah, but you should explain it while I go make sure my daughter is okay.
Okay, no problem. All right, this is the illustrious Ukrainian ace, an official fighter ace who downed more than 6 Russian jets in air-to-air combat in less than 2 days. One of the fastest ever to earn the title of ace. Except it never happened, it appears. There's no evidence of it. 0 evidence. And by the way, it's even Newsweek. So if Newsweek, which is not a bastion of, if you will, right wing, and I hate to say it's right wing or left wing or anything else, but it's not necessarily a bastion of either. If they're saying it and it goes against their narrative, it's probably false. Not only that, the footage that they actually did use was taken from a video game. Now, another thing that's pointed out, that he already has his own Wikipedia page. If you guys have been watching America's Untold Stories and our CIA series, you will know that the CIA is very active on Wikipedia. According to Mark, they have a room dedicated to it. I don't know if they have a room or they don't have a room, but I do know that he works on stuff like Oswald, Lee Harvey, as in, assassinates JFK, and other cases in his updated Wikipedia articles, and he keeps getting corrected and having to fight with other editors. When he checks out IP addresses and gets them traced, guess where they are? Langley, Virginia. And we're not talking about the Air Force Base here near me. We're talking about good old Langley. So go figure. You have heroic stories immediately backed up with a Wikipedia page, immediately retweeted by everybody out there. And then by the time it's like, yeah, it's a legend. Who cares? It's good for morality. Oh, okay. So that's the out. All right. So now we have Russian planes flying over the city of Kiev. And will sanctions stop a Russian shell? Except it's Moscow. And it's 2 years ago. Possibly the 2020 Victory Day parade flyover. Voila. Here we go. Another great story. All right. Zelensky visiting the troops. Boy, this is probably my favorite. And I will confess that I have friends who are, of every political stripe. I do, try to have friends across the aisle or whatever you want to call it. But I had many people I know who were also sending this back out about what a hero and what a leader, and oh my gosh, this guy's just amazing. Woohoo, I got a military background. A lot of people loved it. Oh my God, that's amazing. Except this guy was not out there right now. This picture was taken last April. Here's the timestamp, April 9th. 2021, visiting his troops in uniform. Now, I am not saying that the leader of the country has to be out there with the troops. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying stop bullshitting, okay? Do not prop this up like something and create a meme just because it feels good. It's not a movie. It's something that's really supposedly going on.
Well, and Eric, did you see how, even people are starting to create fakes where they're creating accounts to make it look like the news or other people are faking this stuff? Like, there was some guy that I think he died in Afghanistan. Journalist. I think. Did you see the picture of that guy? CNN reported on his death a couple years ago, and then somebody created a fake CNN account. It was like, oh, the first journalist has died in the Ukraine-Russia conflict. And so then everyone thought CNN made the mistake, but it was somebody who, because there was
mocking the meme.
It, and they're like, how many times does this guy have to die before he doesn't make it in the news anymore? And it turned out it was a fake account.
That sounds like a 4chan troll.
Give everybody a heads up. Somebody's faking me too on my comment section. There's some fake Alison Morrow. So,
by the way, Alison, that's common. That is commonly done.
Oh, really?
Yes, because it's always leading to crypto, and that's part of why my channel got nuked.
Oh, I see.
Some of that that going on. That's why I told you to get with support on it. And try to drive them.
Contact them. You're gonna have to tell me how to do
all right,
that.
We'll talk about tomorrow. Anyway, yes, but yeah, it's a big deal. And pin a comment or whatever. Do something, but definitely say, hey, anytime you see it is not me, I will never talk about that. But that is a common thing, because then they'll get people to a scam wallet and steal their money. All right, so we got the Luhansk power station explosion. I don't know if I said it right, but it's and that was blown up, except that it was actually in China in 2015. Oh, good news. Look at them. Oof, they're fighting like crazy. Look at the ground forces. They're downing a Russian aircraft. It was even on Spanish television news. Oh, sorry. It's a video game again. Oh, yeah. And then Russia warship. Go F yourself. That one we love. I mean, come on. This is Americana, right? You saw Independence Day, right? With Randy Quaid going and shooting his jet up the alien. Yeah. Alien hoo-ha or whatever you want to call it, and saying, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That feels American. I mean, this is like perfectly placed. Well, no. They were not killed. They're taken alive, released, sent back. Not quite as heroic, but I'm very happy they're alive. Seriously, I am happy they're alive. And one more. Syrian drone strike footage. So we are seeing the Russian troop movement around Ukraine border. Sorry. And by the way, that's another conflict. Ukraine is what Ukraine calls itself, as in we don't say, well, we do sometimes say the United States, but whatever. But they mean it as a country. We don't say the Mexico. We say Mexico. They're like, it's Ukraine, not the Ukraine. Except Russia says the Ukraine because they see it as a territory. It's the Ukraine.
Thank you for clarifying that for me too. Okay.
So, and a lot of us is influenced, I think, by that. So I do try to respect the independent if I can. Anyway, we got the Trump movement, except this is a Turkish, not even U.S. Well, that's a relief. Strike in Syria from 2020. So there we go. Again, I'm complaining about the lack of footage, which I think is a legitimate complaint. And then what I'm saying is that the footage that we do have coming out, a lot of it's not even from here. It's from all over. And with everything that they're saying here, it's insane. And another article, and it didn't go up to where I wanted it. That's not cool. All right, well, I'll just tell you what the article was, but it was a claim that 20,000 have been killed so far.
It's a lot.
But I haven't seen any.
It seems like a lot, yeah.
Okay. Even in Syria, remember when Trump did the attacks and then there were the chemical strikes? There was footage, right?
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything.
Nothing. Yeah, it's weird. You're right, dude. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's definitely ripe for conspiracy theory. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's like trying to find Bin Laden's body. Okay, and so
somebody sent me an email that maybe Zelensky is JFK Jr. I mean, these are people kind of actually think this is real. I mean, I don't know. I can't confirm or deny that. The guy's got great hair. I'll give him that. Much better than.
Well, I'm already jealous of that. Much better than me too. Then,
not better than me though.
No, Allison. Yeah,
your hair. Zelensky.
Your hair is remarkable. Thank you very much.
It's called all the cod liver oil I take.
Okay. Then you have this. Okay, so let's get on the other side. You have Adam Kinzinger. And I believe he's a Republican. I think he's senator. Apparently he's going to be retiring. Let's see. Well, he calls himself a lieutenant colonel and all that. I guess he doesn't want to claim his political office. This is what he wants. Declare a no-fly zone over Ukraine.
Yeah.
Because Zelensky wants a no-fly zone. Now, what could be the problem with that?
We would start a nuclear war.
Yeah, you think? Because by default, a no-fly zone means that if we declare that and Russia sends planes over it, we will be downing Russian jets. How's that going to go? Yes, you think that's going to... you think that bear's just going to go, oops, sorry.
Right.
Never mind. And Jay Lieb got, you're right. Interesting. It's quite simple. Russia's invading, and Ukrainian TikTokers are fighting them in online games from their parents' basements. Well, at least they're safe. Get shelter from bombing. Good.
Yeah. I mean, okay. On one hand, I'm really glad I live in a place where I don't think anyone would want to take it over, but I'm nervous about where this goes. I mean, I don't know, maybe nervous isn't the right word, because I kind of feel like I can't really do much about it, so I just sort of watching, but apprehensive. I think just like how does this end? But I think, I don't know. I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping that it doesn't turn into what it could turn into. I don't want to live through like a Hiroshima or something like that. You know what I mean? I don't want to see that in my lifetime.
I agree. Now, by the way, B-Man pointed out you got to go to the right accounts of people who are actually filming on the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Who are they? And by the way, why can't the media find those said accounts who are filming on the ground? I mean, come on. We want to, wave a flag behind Biden like he's, making wise choices. And we want to say that, Russia is, the heart of all evil. All evil is ever stemmed out of Putin. We should be demonstrating that completely, right? I mean, we do not want to let him just be chilling along and have no evidence. We want that evidence there. We need to convict him. Correct? So again, no evidence. But, on your note of where you worry about where it's going, I do too. You had your guest on, I forgot his name, Scott Horton.
Mm-hmm. The libertarian anti-war guy.
Yes, he is. And very strongly, and that's fine. But he brought up a video of Hillary, and I found it. So I'm gonna share that, because there's a lot here, and we can kind of use this and close out with it, I think, and our worries. Ugh. I'm not necessarily a fan of watching her, but whatever. Let's see the joy. Her and Bill Gates actually are converging. They could be siblings. They both have that kind of
But remember, the Russians invaded Afghanistan back in 1980. And although no country went in, they certainly had a lot of countries supplying arms and advice, and even some advisors to those who were recruited to fight Russia. It didn't end well for the Russians. There were other unintended consequences, as we know, but the fact is that a very motivated and then funded and armed insurgency basically drove the Russians out of Afghanistan. Obviously, the similarities are not ones that you should bank on, because the terrain, the development in urban areas, et cetera, is so different. But I think that is the model that people are now looking toward. And if there can be sufficient armaments that get in, and they should be able to get in along some of the borders.
It goes on for a couple of minutes. We get the point. And now I want to riff on this, because that's disturbing. he was right in that element of, oh, we could hand Russia their own Afghanistan again, which is our Vietnam. And who benefits from that? Oh, wait a minute. We have lots of people here, the Raytheons and other people who are making some nice, handy dandy equipment. And by the way, Ukraine's awesome, Allison, because they have something that we haven't had for a while. They have some good land. They spread out nicely, and we can get a tank war. Think about it. We can sell some tanks. It's good. We can sell lots and lots of tanks, and it can be a quagmire, and it can screw with Russia. And, well, we have some people here who can make some money. And by the way, the Dow Jones, everything's getting hotter. Dow Jones is up today when I was looking. Why is that? I thought that would scare everybody. Why is it suddenly, why are we making money? Why are we so bellicose and going forward? And the whole concept of that, like, essentially don't send any troops in, just, start funneling arm after arm after arm and gumming that up. What does that do to the poor Ukrainians? I mean, in the end, no matter what we think about anything, any which way, those are people. And these people are suffering. I work with a company, and one of the people who's there, she's in a neighboring country, and she hasn't been able to contact her family for a couple of days, and that this is very, very scary, and it's very, very real for the people. So I'm not trying to take away from their pain or anything else. I'm very frustrated because I see nothing more than messaging all around, and I feel very little concern or care over how do we get out of this shit? How do we resolve this? How do we move forward? Because ultimately it does have to end. And I would really love if we were focusing on how to end it versus how to track it.
Yeah, good point.
Thank you very much. This is Dmitry Skavish, who actually designed this software that I'm using right now.
Oh, very cool.
Very awesome. Thank you, sir.
Well, Eric, I have to wrap before my producer blows a gasket. We're hitting bath time. I bet it's bath time for everybody watching too. Don't you just love a nice hot bath after talking about nuclear war on the horizon?
Absolutely. It is the best subject of all. And I was going to be wrapping up anyway, folks. Again, this is a new channel. Still trying to build it. Would really love it if you subscribe, share with a friend. That would be amazing. And you know what? Comment below. Tell me what you think. Am I all wet? Am I being, am I minimizing the situation too much in your eyes? If I am, please let me know. If you can see what I'm saying.
Minimizing at all, Eric. I don't think asking questions about this stuff is minimizing. It's taking it seriously enough to ask questions and fill in the blanks. And so I don't find anything flippant about that at all.
Okay. And thank you, because I'm trying to make sure I'm not tonally, doing that, because it's very easy to go, oh, look at that. It's not funny. And that's my problem.
It's a terrible situation. What's really going on behind the scenes doesn't change that. I don't wish. I don't wish this on whatever. I don't know. It's been weird to me. I think, like, for the people who really believe, that there's significant devastation, and things are terrible. So they're like in that side, like it's terrible, whatever, that it does still feel like that people are talking about Ukraine as like this like political puppet, and everybody's drawing their political lines, and not a lot of concern, like you said, for just the people, like how it would suck for the people, the average person. And I think more and more people, we are focusing on like the oligarchy, the new world order. Like, people are talking a lot about the global leadership and how leaders are screwing their people. But, often I think we focus on the leader, how the leaders got us here, what the leaders are doing to screw it up. And, don't necessarily focus enough on, like, we may talk about what they're doing, but, the stories of the actual people who are suffering because of it. So I think it's fair to ask those questions.
Well, thank you. And I do want to end on one last point to harp on the Hillary angle, because I know that there are some people who might feel like, you know what, that's their problem. You keep it over there. If you sell some arms, whatever, that's fine. I don't know if anybody has heard of Mohammed Farah Adid. There was an incident called Black Hawk Down. Adid was a Somalian warlord. Adid was trained by us, warlord, by the CIA, took out the helicopter, caused all kinds of havoc. But after him, there's another guy that we train, and we trained this guy in Afghanistan. And this guy came to haunt us later on a fateful day called 9/11. Osama bin Laden. And we really loved Afghanistan, and we really loved helping him out to give it to the Russians until he didn't have the Russians. So then guess what? He thought, hey, I bet you I can draw the US into Afghanistan. And yeah, he did.
Mm-hmm.
And let's not train the next person. Let's find a solution and just find other ways to deal with things. And on that note, folks, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.